Okay, so Chop Chang's being a fairly new restaurant in West End. We went there the other night, and I have to say, generally quite enjoyable.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I'd probably recommend it. I mean, it wouldn't be top of the list in terms of a sort of Asian restaurant to recommend, but certainly
Okay,
a solid choice.
and why not top of the list? Because there are better Asian restaurants or cheaper or...
Look, I mean, the food was tasty, but it didn't blow me away. I mean, I think I've watched a bit too much MasterChef here. I'm not giving a not giving a direct answer. You know what? I haven't actually had all that much Asian food.
Okay,
It's tends to be I get takeaway, and that's it. If I'm going out, I'll have something different.
hmm.
So the disclaimer is I'm not comparing it to anything in particular, except that it was a solid good, a solid seven, I'd say.
Okay, yeah, so I probably had a bit more Asian food than you, although coming into Chop Chang's, I had a low expectation initially. Because I tend to think that Pan Asian places like Chop Chang's that do a bit of everything all mixed together and it's just general Asian, they kind of can't make up their mind and they're usually an average amount of everything you like and then mixed up in a way that you're not very interested in. That's been my experience. So I usually, maybe I just like to box things up, but I like to go to a Japanese place or a Malaysian place or Thai, something that will just wear that badge openly and say, this is what we do.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I really wasn't expecting that much. And so I guess perhaps because of that, I would rate it higher than you. I was really blown away because I thought it's Pan Asian. It's obviously quite trendy. It's in the middle of West End. It's probably one of the trendiest things on the Boundary Road strip of West End, Boundary Street, I should say. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, in terms of somewhere to dine in, yeah, definitely. I mean,
Hmm,
there are plenty of sort of trendy bars and places
hmm.
like that. I mean, if you're going to look at its competition, um, what comes to
What is
mind?
it?
A
There's the
jackpot
Spaghetti
noodle
House. That's
across the road.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the direct Asian competition, and
Hmm.
it's nowhere
It's
near
not at
as
all in
yeah,
that
not at
that
all.
league.
I mean,
Yeah.
the thing that caught me is actually the layout and the interior design of the place.
Mm.
It's got this sort of yellow and black sort of color scheme going
Oh
on,
yeah.
which I really liked, and lots of smooth lines and repetition. Like the tables are all laid out meticulously.
Mm. And it's all
Um,
big tables too, like a food court almost.
yeah, like you
Mm.
want to bring a heap of friends there and share.
Mm.
And the menu is structured for sharing as well.
Yes, that's
The
true. And in fact, that was another reason that the first time I went, I thought this is going to be a bit of a rip-off. Everyone loves share plates now. Everything is share plate. But in my experience, a share plate usually means you pay more to get about the same as you would have got for a normal main. And sometimes you get less. And then you're just expected to share with everybody. And I hate that. I think that's fundamentally flawed. But when I went the first time, the waitress came up, she introduced that whole concept, and I thought, oh, here we go. But then again, really exceeded my expectations. It was actually really good value, I thought, and a very good portion of food, like a shareable portion.
Yeah, I mean, if you're really hungry or you're going for
Mm,
some sweet games, you could probably download. You could probably down the whole thing at once
mm.
if you're really hungry. But I don't think it's made for that. And it's better if you get a couple of different things and share it with each other. That's kind of atmosphere of the place, and that's what share plates are for. So
Yeah, that's true. Going back to what you were saying about the decor and everything, it's all very consistent. The website looks just like the menu, as I discovered just before when we were having a look at the website. The menu kind of suits that whole food courty atmosphere that they've got going on. It's very slick.
mm,
Most places at West End, even the trendy places, they're not really aiming to be slick, I don't think.
there's kind of this
That,
grungy
yes,
couches and
yeah,
we're cool without trying to be cool sort of
exactly,
vibe.
exactly.
This is modern, and it's
Mm.
shamelessly modern. It's proud to be modern. It's good.
So, we should talk about the food at some point. What did you think of the food?
I thought it was good. I found the pumpkin curry. I got a pumpkin curry. Let's go into the specifics, and it was excellent. It had a lot of different things going on. The smoothness of the pumpkin, and there was crunchy bits in there, and there was stronger flavors and more subtle flavors, and it all sort of melded together really nice.
Mm.
And that's what I like. I like to be excited by the food I eat, especially when it's something that I wouldn't have every day. So it's food from a different culture. So I like that. I did find that some of the other meals, the one that you had, what was that?
That was the roast pork. with the master stock. It's essentially like a ramen bowl.
Yeah, and maybe I'm being a bit critical because it's just trying to be a ramen bowl, but it was, for me, a bit uninspired. It was just the same sort of taste the whole way through.
No,
was
I
nice.
agree. I mean, I love ramen and I enjoyed that ramen bowl, but I certainly wouldn't bother to order that again at Chop Chang's. If I was going to get ramen, like I said, I'd go to a specific Japanese ramen house. That's where I'd go to get ramen, not Chop Chang's.
Yeah, but in saying that, I don't want to become too pretentious. It was all very good and tasty, and for the price, there is no complaint from me. I'd be happy to go there.
Really,
again.
to look at the menu, I just assumed that for those prices you weren't going to get that much food, but you're paying exactly what it's worth, I would say, or less than it's worth in many cases. So I had the roast pork ramen, and I quite enjoyed that. But I have to say it was also my least favourite out of all the things we had. So your pumpkin curry, I thought that was just amazing. And I always forget that vegetarian dishes are often really quite delicious, especially when I'm very hungry. I feel like there isn't going to be any substance to a vegetarian dish, but there can be. That had the most flavour, I think, of anything, the most varied and interesting flavour.
Except for perhaps the son-in-law eggs, which were excellent.
The son-in-law eggs. How did I forget about those?
We actually argued about whether the son-in-law eggs were actually going to be eggs.
Yes, and luckily they are. If you're interested, the son-in-law eggs are...
Eggs?
Yeah. They're eggs, and they've got kind of breadcrumbing on the outside and fried, but they're still soft boiled inside.
Yolks.
Yeah, and, yolks still runny.
Characteristics of an egg.
That's right.
And an excellent sauce.
Yes, that's what really makes the son-in-law eggs great. I can't remember what it was called now. The 3 spice sauce or something. It's delicious. Anyway, it comes with the son-in-law eggs.
And the drinks as well. They, in accordance with the sharing sort of philosophy that they've got going on, they did offer jugs of cocktails, which are quite good. I mean, we had the yuzu lemonade. Yuzu lemonade, yep. Yeah. Which was probably the most uninteresting choice out of the 4 or 5
it was actually,
but it was still good. It all just felt like something pretty basic.
It's funny, I was thinking about the yuzu lemonade again today, and after trying it the first time, I was not really aware again that I was ever drinking it. As you said, it was probably the least interesting drink on the menu.
Well, that was just our mistake, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
There's got to have something there for the people that wanted something a bit more basic, and it was a good sort of palate cleanser, you know, if you wanted to just have something to accompany the food rather than being a separate thing of itself.
Exactly. You could argue that a really good drink paired with the right food, you shouldn't really notice it. I'd still call that a criticism, but it's not a big one. No, it's not really a big one at all.
There was a lychee and ginger drink I saw.
Yes, that looked really good.
Yeah, that'd be
love to try that next time.
Do you remember any others?
There's a passion fruit flavoured cocktail. It's not in a jug, but it is really quite delicious. And there's also a Tom Yum Collins, which is sort of an Asian take on the classic Collins cocktail. And it's definitely worth a go. I don't think I like it more than a normal Collins, but for the theme, it just works. The other criticism is for a restaurant that really pushes sharing. They didn't serve the food in a way that was that conducive to sharing. And what I mean is, we each had a fork, a knife, and a spoon as part of the normal table setting. When we got food that was meant to be shared, like the Chiang Mai chicken curry, for example, which is just a massive bowl with chicken and curry and noodles in there, all we got were 3 separate small bowls and a rice spoon. But really, what I would like to see, what I would have done, if it was at your house, say, and you were serving that dish for people to share, you'd bring that bowl out with the curry and with a big serving spoon stuck in there. And that would be the thing you'd use to serve, and it'd sit in the bowl. And we got 3 different dishes that were all sort of for sharing to greater or lesser extent. None of them came with any utensils for sharing, and it was a little bit tricky juggling people's different spoons all over the place trying to share things. Again, perhaps making a mountain out of a molehill, it wasn't really that big a deal. It didn't stop us eating the food.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say for a sharing-focused restaurant, it's their responsibility to be making it a bit easier to share things.
I mean, essentially, this is a complaint about a lack of a large spoon.
Yeah,
which is fine because it obviously had an impact on your night. And I mean, that's a pretty easy problem to solve.
Exactly.
I mean, give
it's
you a big
not
spoon.
A fundamental flaw with the restaurant by any means.
No, but I mean, it's important. And as you said, they're going with their sharing sort sort of vibes. So that seems like a little bit of an oversight.
And only a little one. Again,
Yeah.
it didn't have a significant impact at all, and I hadn't thought about it until I was sort of racking my brain for negative comments to make. Yeah, really, those are my two central criticisms.
Yeah. I'm going to put you on the spot a bit here. Describe the type of person that you think would be ideal for Chop Chang, so their demographic.
Definitely
what are their interests?
Glasses. How about that? I definitely think they're going for a bit of a yuppie crowd, if I could resurrect a word from the 90s. Not so much the hipsters. I think they're aware that there are plenty of other hipster kind of hangouts at West End, and I think that's perhaps why they've gone a bit more slick and upmarket. It's almost like a restaurant in the city, really. So I'd see it as like a young urban professional kind of guy in a suit, maybe no tie, but with the thick rimmed glasses, because he's got to have a little bit of that street cool cred.
Yeah,
so,
I can picture it.
So that's how the person would dress. As for who they are,
what other restaurants would they go to?
Ooh, now that's a good question. I don't think they'd find anywhere else to go at West End, really, and that's not a criticism of West End at all. I think that type of crowd has never really been catered for that much at West End. Potentially Habitat, now that that's open, but that's only going off what I've heard. I haven't actually been there.
I've been to Habitat, and they do have similarities.
So, yeah, I'd probably say this person would normally be dining out in the Valley or at Eagle Street.
Okay.
Certainly one of those sort of upmarket places. Maybe Madam Wu at Riverside there.
I just want to throw in, even though we've kind of described it as being a little bit more upmarket, it's certainly not the type of place where you're going to sit down and worry about which set of cutlery you use first.
And there's not a dress code as far as I can tell. I mean, I didn't go in thongs, but it's West End, and I think they realise that it's West End.
You're still going to get served with a paper napkin, and
absolutely.
It's on the casual side of finer dining. You wouldn't call it fine dining. It's
no.
Kind of upmarket, but still accessible, that you could wander in off the street and still be perfectly fine.
And actually, speaking of casual dining experiences, how about the staff?
Okay. I could imagine that the staff, for the wrong person, they'd find them quite irritating. The person we had, young girl, quite chatty.
Just friendly chatty, though. Most of what she was saying had very little to do with the meal.
Yeah, this wasn't your typical waiter, is everything okay? Can I get you something?
No, it wasn't being pestered.
It was quite genuine. So, yeah, I thought that was good. I mean, it's hard to really give a full review based on one staff member, but the staff member that we did have was excellent.
Yeah, I had been once before, and the waitress I had at that time was also great. I thought she was really lovely. Similar level of chattiness, just down to earth chatty. Yeah, they're very friendly. And again, I think that underscores their casual element.
Yeah, definitely. Just while I'm thinking of it, if I was going to make a recommendation, it's that when you enter Chop Chang's, take an immediate left and take that booth.
Yes.
Because it's pretty open plan. Most of the restaurant is this open plan with long tables. But if you've got a group of sort of 4 or 5, a smaller sort of group, there is one booth at the front, and there is just one. So if you can score that, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's a
people
great little
watch
atmosphere
out onto the street.
Definitely. Just thinking about anything else that might be worth talking about.
If you like sriracha sauce, then you're in luck. They've got it on every single table.
Yes, and they even sell it. I think it's $6 a bottle. So they're very keen on their sriracha sauce. Although, interestingly, I was reading somewhere about these cocktails with sriracha in them, and I'm surprised none of their cocktails had it. That was the only place where sriracha hadn't been kind of placed for you in your line of sight. So maybe that's a good opportunity for them.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd be keen to try a sriracha cocktail, I must say.
I don't know whether we're saying sriracha right, but we're committed to it now.
People know what we're talking about.
So we're going to stick with it.
If it's a red spicy sauce, and it's got a picture of a rooster on there.
Yeah, sometimes people call it rooster sauce. And I think it owes its popularity to the oatmeal.
Really?
Yeah. Have you seen the oatmeal?
No, I haven't seen.
The oatmeal has done many, many comics about how much he loves sriracha sauce. It's a tasty firestorm, according to him.
Oh, wait, I think they have one of...
Yeah.
There's a comic up in the restaurant.
Yeah, they use it to market the sauce.
That's from the oatmeal.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. No, I have seen that. I haven't registered it was from the oatmeal.
Yeah.
Ah. Wow. So he's done multiple of those.
Oh yeah, you can buy merchandise with sriracha sauce on it.
Good God.
Yeah, so he's a
Wow. I hope he's
proactive
getting
marketing.
some kickback now. I mean,
It probably is.
well, I probably shouldn't say that. But yeah, he deserves something for that. He's obviously done a lot to popularize sriracha.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's do some sort of final conclusions
Yes.
or last points.
Yeah.
So let's give it maybe an out of
Out of 5. Please not out of 20.
maybe out of 16 or so.
with 0.1s and 2s as well.
Yeah.
No, let's say out of 5.
Okay. 5 with no decimals.
With no decimals unless it's absolutely necessary.
Okay. All right. You're pausing, so I think I'll go.
Okay.
Okay. If we break it down into first, say, taste. Taste, I am going to go straight to a decimal and go 3.5.
Oh, okay. You're really straight average then.
2.5 is average, technically.
Oh, that's, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose you're
Yeah,
right.
so 3.5 is good.
Above
I
average.
want to give it a solid good.
Solid good. All right. For taste, out of 5, I would say 4. I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
Yep. Okay. In terms of ambience, I could almost give it 5. In terms of what it's trying to do, it achieves it really well.
Actually, I'll just jump in there and say, when I was there with you, it was a very quiet time. It was a Sunday evening. There was basically no one else there. And we got very good service and everything, but it didn't feel like a ghost town. It still felt nice and warm and welcoming. And the previous time that I've been there, it was turning people away. It was completely packed. And again, didn't feel packed. It didn't feel like everyone was run off their feet in a stressful atmosphere. It was actually a same, very friendly, welcoming kind of atmosphere. So, yeah, I think it's got a pretty well eked out ambience.
Yeah, and it's not overdone. There are certain places that push so hard for a theme that it becomes a little bit tacky or a bit of a gimmick. I'm thinking Harajuku
That's a topic for another time.
And this doesn't try too hard. It's mostly based on colours and based on, I'd say even wood might be a theme. Polished wood.
Yes, very nice wooden tables.
Yeah, so okay, for ambience, again, you're not going to like the fractions, but I'm going to go 4.5, 4.5.
Wow, so almost perfect.
Yeah, I think it's very close to perfect for what it's trying to do.
Yes, yeah, definitely for what it's trying to do. Well, I'm tempted to join you in a 4.5 there. I think I will, just so you don't feel bad. They're just very good at what they're trying to create. Spot on, I think.
Yeah, if we're going to go service, I would say 4.
Yeah, me too, actually. 4.
It was good. I mean, if I think of perfect service, I quite like having recommendations and people giving a very solid overview of the menu.
And to be fair, we did get a recommendation, but it was at the end of the meal, which was sort of only somewhat helpful.
Yeah, and for your reference, she recommended the fish, I believe.
Yeah, the market fish.
Market fish.
And paired with something else.
Yes.
What was that?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Market fish.
If you go in and say, I heard there was an excellent pairing with the market fish and something, hopefully they'll know what you're talking about. It was supposed to be the chef's personal recommendation of what he thought the 2 best items on the menu were in terms of how they go together.
So yeah, good service.
Definitely, yeah. Yep. Definitely a 4.
So I've got taste, ambience, service.
Yeah. In terms of value, I'm definitely going to give a value rating. Yeah, I'd have to go 3.5. I think I'm very much a value-focused eater, which is another way of saying that I'm cheap. And I've definitely found better value. But in terms of the level and the quality that it is, it's very good value for money.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually going to go 4 again.
Oh, okay.
Mainly because I feel pressured not to use any more fractions. So I'm going to stick with a 4.
Well, now we've done an equal number of fractions, I think.
I think we could pretty much just do a rough bit of averaging there, and I'm going to say that overall I'd say 4.
Yeah, I'd say 4 out of 5 overall.
Yep.
Definitely. It's absolutely worth a look if you like any kind of Asian food, but even if you don't, it's really quite accessible. It's not a complex menu. Yeah, so definitely recommended.
Yeah, there's enough things on there that you would have seen before, curries and stir-fries and that sort of thing, but also probably things that you haven't encountered. For me, it was son-in-law eggs, which was a revelation.
Oh, so keen to try and make those and their sauce now. It's really that good, and if there's anything on the menu that you don't understand, as we said, the staff are really friendly. They'll explain it to you.
And it's written in English. This isn't sort of any sort of French
no,
or obviously not French. But
No,
what I'm trying to say is no pretentious language. It's all just laid out. You know what you're getting.
exactly.